themselves now had to form themselves into the opposition then became more superfluous.
A coalition of...
Yes, but it did happen. And the French system also has similar situations where you can end up having a president who is from one party and a prime minister from another party. And they go through something called a cohabitation, which we will have to draft and see how that works.
So it now becomes an issue of roles rather than the parties you belong to.
It becomes an issue of roles and how we are going to organize those roles and who is going to play those roles. But all these are roles of leadership. It's not a football game where you say that somebody must be.
It's for and against. Yes,
that is just for against. It's just roles we are playing, and we are all playing these roles in the process of governance, and that opposition is also a process of governance. And we came up, that's why we proposed that the idea of having that has never happened in
shadow
Kenya.
cabinet.
Yes, and that happens in the Westminster model where you have people playing roles of shadow cabinet.
Yeah.
And we thought that would be a good way to involve more people
Of course.
in governance, where you play a role in, for instance, finance.
Actually, even more importantly, from what I see, it's we will be educating Kenyans on how things could be done differently. Yes. That as opposed to what we've had,
this is a different thing.
This is different, and actually everyone gets to participate. You may not think so, but they do. But then the implementation.
27 minutes to 9 o'clock. Let's take a look at what's happening in the traffic situation.
96.1 Spice FM. Kisii. Traffic.
So the mother of all traffic jams is actually on Mombasa Road right now, and it's looking like she's not going to let up right now. All the way from Syokimau heading outbound on Mombasa Road is giving nightmares of epic proportions. We don't know how long that's going to take to open up, but we also understand that the construction on the expressway has already begun. This could be a contributing factor. People starting to stop and take a look of what's going on might be the case. Langata Road coming out to the T-Mall roundabout and either joining Bagathi Way or heading towards the Nyayo Stadium roundabout is not so painful, but it is moving slowly. Coming off of Thika Road also is some traffic. It seems to be a gridlock just before you get to the Pangani underpass. That'll lead you into town without much of an issue thereafter. All right, other parts of the city not too bad. Coming off of the Kikuyu Limuru Road, where construction is taking place, is really, really slow. You can use an alternative route, but it's going to be longer. But it might save you the trouble of traffic if you want to come out. Kangunda Road is actually quite clear this morning, and Dandora traffic is moving well. If you see anything else that we need to know about, do give us a call, send us a message. The number is 0719-012-600.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
This is a situation room. Good morning, and how are you doing? It's 25 minutes to 9 o'clock. In the situation room this morning, my name is Eric Latif. We have C.T. Muga, Jerry Thorn Nduoko, and also we've been joined on the hot seat by Paul Mwangi. He's one of the joint secretaries of the BBI task force. They released their report, and that's what we are trying to discuss here. We'll be opening up the phone line so that you can also shoot one or two questions or comments. You can congratulate him, or you can tell him where you are talking about going around the countries. I didn't see you. You can do that as well. When you open up the phone line, 0719-012-600. So we've talked about the system of government. We have very many things to ask you, and some of them we discussed yesterday. I think we can just throw them in and today as we discuss. In the morning, we were talking about your recommendation on betting. Tell us about that. Betting.
Sorry, betting?
Yes.
On the lottery?
On the lottery.
Yes.
Right. There's a specific recommendation within this report that looks, first of all, having, premised on the fact that, a lot of, from a moral and ethical point of view, a lot of Kenyans had lost livelihoods in the betting industry. But the answer seems to be in the establishment of a national betting industry, and that would essentially replace the private entities that have been taking place in the country.
Well, betting itself is not an activity that we possibly should allow, but it's an activity anyway that has been allowed all these years.
Okay. we as
people
government or we as society?
we as society.
Okay.
And one of the things that have gone wrong is that it has totally lacked in a form of regulation, and it's just gone wild. But our thinking is that if we are going to have it, then at least let the beneficiary of it be the same public. So if people are going to engage in betting, we're going to have it better regulated so that people don't risk livelihoods, as you say. So it becomes more of a game rather than what it had become, almost an investment.
It was a career.
It becomes a career. So we provide it as a game, as so many other scenes that exist anyway.
But you can still win money.
Yeah.
Well, you still place money to win more.
Well, not as a career, not as an investment, but that's why I say it as a game. In fact, that's what they call it, gaming. But then the benefits of it cannot be something that then a private person can go and enrich themselves in. Let's take that money and we reinject it back into the same society. The way we had the Kenya charity sweepstakes. So if we are going to make 1 billion shillings from gaming every year, why don't we use that money to do more charity?
Benefit the people.
Yeah, to benefit the people.
But
put
in
it
order for
charitable
someone to
projects.
place a bet, they must still spend some money, right?
Yes.
Yes. So there's not much difference then at all.
No, that's the essence of betting, and as I said, it's not. If you looked at it from
a moral point of view.
moral point of view, from a religious point of view, we shouldn't be doing it. But
the society
there are
has
so
said
many
we
other
want
things
to
we
do
shouldn't
it.
be doing. But the
Exactly.
society has decided that
So
they can allow it.
it could run the risk of you doing the same with BAT, with cigarettes and EABL, the government saying, well, we're going to let it, but to counter the sort of moral aspects that we have to contend with, we'll take all the money and give it back to you guys.
Let the
as
government sell
society.
cigarettes.
Well, but
No, basically,
so
I
you
mean,
can only have a pint
it's
a day.
regulated, and you see, even when it came to the beer industry and the tobacco industry, the problem that we got to a point is saying that they are not regulated, and it became a free for all. But there's also freedom that you're saying if consciously you decide that you want to smoke or you want to drink, the government cannot be puritanical and say that now we have some religious morals that say we are not going to allow drinking or smoking in this society. We've said we are going to be secular, but we are, as a government, cannot also leave it to the point that it becomes destructive.
a menace, yeah.
So there are going to be regulation, but even with regulation, there's still people who become alcoholics.
I'm wondering, Paul, who came to you and actually came up with
He
this,
said this
as a
betting thing
problem
is-
and as a solution?
Well, the issue of betting was, of course, at the time we were going round was
a
one
problem.
of the life issues that was there.
The people
And
who are
people-
commenting about it.
Yes,
were
and people are
con-
complaining. This is what is happening to young people. All people are doing is betting. They're losing their monies. But how does a company allow somebody to bet 10,000 bob?
So now
you
it's
know?
going to be the government that allows somebody to bet 10,000 bob. as
It's
opposed to-
no.
How does it change? It's just changing power
Because they're
from
taking
one hand.
I
over
don't
the
think. I
industry,
think the
aren't
kind
they?
of regulation would be such that there should even be a limit. They say you can't bet more than 200 shillings a month.
Okay.
So you can buy one.
So
ticket and that's
essentially,
it.
you are trying to legislate morality.
No, it's regulation. It has nothing to do with
Regulation.
morals.
You're regulating morality.
The reason why I'm saying this is the thinking behind betting is probably the same thinking about sex work, isn't it? It's a moral issue.
No, because the positions we've taken are very different. Because the society, when it comes to sex, commercial sex work, it's something they've said no. That they've
It's
criminalized
outlawed.
it, and they said that's not going to happen.
Okay.
So you can't even begin to talk about regulating it. But when it comes to betting, it's something they have allowed to happen.
And what you're saying is let's ensure that it's only the government.
So
that
if it's in the
participates
hands of the
this.
government, then we will not see
The
the
reason
kind
you're
of
putting it in the hands of the government is so that the benefits of it come
Come
to the
directly back to the people.
public. And here it's not government; it's a public. That's I think the better word to use is that
It's a public.
It's a public
entity.
institution. It's a public entity that does this, and whatever benefits it gets goes back to the public.
There's a
Then
moral
it becomes-
paradox in that, because what you're saying is that we're not going to let private entities benefit from this immoral or social ill that we have. So we as government will take it, will regulate it, and any money that comes from it to counter the either problems that we see with the young and addiction and so on, to counter that, we'll give money back to the public.
First,
Are you getting
the
your money
solution is
from an
not-
ethnic-
It's not a
ethic-
Kenyan. It's not a Kenyan solution.
Right.
This is practice that is done elsewhere. So we're also saying what has been the best practice of how other countries have
Looking
handled
around,
this.
yeah.
And looking around, you say, yes, most countries have a national lottery, which they play.
But they
people
don't
can
ban
engage
sort of betting, and they don't ban other commercial entities that provide these platforms for gambling.
and they are very, very highly regulated in some places. For instance,
It becomes
the
almost
complaint-
impossible to operate.
Almost impossible. The complaints about Kenyan betting was being made in UK.
Right.
Surprising. And they are the guys who were thinking that this is immoral. Now we still were thinking that that's a very good thing.
And how would you then control, or how would you propose they control betting online with interconnectivity and so on? It becomes impossible. So they can bet using international companies and so on. Are you even able to tax that?
Betting online will not happen without pay channels, all which will be locally
Regulated.
Right.
Oh,
Okay. So
right.
you've got the structures in place.
For that,
Okay.
the structures
They've
seem
thought
to
it
be
through.
very well in place in terms of how that will be
You have to
implemented.
go through M-Pesa or PayPal, and if the law locally is that you cannot engage in that, then nobody
Then
will.
nobody
What
will
about
do it.
with international ones? You can use credit cards or your debit card that take Visa or MasterCard. It's going to be a tricky one to navigate.
But again, unless your Visa card is operating from an account that's outside Kenya, so long as the account
So
is
even
in
with
Kenya,
banks, okay.
the bank would
You
should
can
not allow
still
that
see the
to-
bank will not debit the money. There's the other issue that we're discussing about gender, of course, and you've made a couple of far-reaching and good recommendations on gender. For example, saying a governor shall be for both gender, the
Shall be
governor
balanced.
and the deputy governor shall be balanced, and then also saying the Political Parties Act should be amended to ensure that you have more gender participation. Then we asked ourselves, so why did these guys leave it only there? Why not come to the national level? Why not say that one of the two, president and deputy, must be of either gender?
Actually, hearing it yesterday, I thought it was a good idea. I think that's some of the conversations we need to have after this report.
Did you not emerge at any point during your deliberations?
How many women did you have in your panel?
There were 8.
Women?
Yes.
No,
12 actually. Yeah. Out of the 19, there were 12.
No,
Interesting.
we were 14.
Mm-mm.
No, not full.
No.
The 40 that he was in the task force.
Yeah, I know. The initial, I am aware.
And he can count.
So he's saying
can't-
that. So you had how many?
We had 4.
4. So 4 women out of the 14 member.
Yes, we had
Okay,
Dr.
4.
Florence Omosa, we had Agnes Modama, we had Marion Deshomo, and we had Honorable Rose Museo.
The 4. So what was your question, CT, when you're going with that?
You see, my question to him was, if you had 4 women in this panel, did they not bring this up?
The issue came up, and as he said, at that time, you're trying to balance and say, okay, fine, are we reaching too far by even going to the presidential, and then you think, okay, fine, let's stop at governor, and let's see how people receive that, and if they want to add to it, they will add to it, but at least the issue is on the table, and it was always in our mind that ours is not the last say. There are things we will say, and people might want to improve on them.